Hello, everyone.
What's up?
Welcome to the Black Lodge Games live stream. We are a couple minutes late. We weren't having full-on technical difficulties, but we were eating dinner, so.
And smoking.
And smoking, obviously. How is everyone tonight? Things are going well in the Black Lodge.
Oh, yeah.
We recorded another episode of the podcast today.
Right.
That'll be up maybe tomorrow. I'm not sure. We got to take care of the locals people first, as always. If you go to blacklodgegames.locals.com and use promo code Midwit, you do get a month free, and you get all our videos a day before they come out. We talked to people there. We haven't been very active at the moment, mostly because we've been finishing up the Shucked Oyster, which is launching on Kickstarter on August 6th.
Oh, yeah.
And is going to be fucking awesome. Our playtesting has been absolutely wild. We were supposed to have me, myself, and Di on the podcast this week, but he unfortunately had some scheduling issues. Yeah. So we brought in one of our players from our game who's never played role-playing games before jumping head first into Axe.
Yeah. It was a very funny
conversation. He's hilarious. So look forward to that. We do have it on live chat, so don't worry about that. But tonight, yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about the various incarnations of vampire, because why not? We love vampire.
Oh, yeah. There's plenty to talk about.
Oh, we got a $5 super chat already.
Whoa. The foot people what they want, Frazier.
I mean,
I can't do all the work.
I can't do it. Yeah, exactly. That's what young Steve is here for. Thank you for the $5, Kate.
Thank you, man.
All right, we're gonna start.
We have
Go ahead.
some vampire video content.
Oh yeah,
right around the corner.
Right around the corner, which we're very excited about.
Yep.
That'll be early next week.
Probably, yeah. Yep.
Let's see. The Bunted Cow says, hype. You're damn right. Bacon Gaming,
yeah,
good to see you. I mean, the correct answer is VtR, always and every time. Oof. Well, of course.
That's the first wrong take I've heard from you, man.
Dare to Wonder is playing VtR.
Is awesome.
Nice.
Nice.
And the Hunger Dice for VtM seems interesting. Also, the powers in VtR are lackluster compared to VtM, in my opinion.
Well, it's also part of, like, the consolidation. I don't want to say consolidation. The sort of distillation of the clans to the core 5 archetypes of the vampire myth. Mm-hmm. The same is true of the disciplines as well. There's no obtenebration. There's no demontation or chemistry. But that's also the point, right? Mm-hmm. For VtR.
Well, there shouldn't be chemistry because
the Ravnos are terrible.
Are really stupid and shouldn't exist.
Yes.
I like having I have 10 experience points and nothing stands out. That seems ridiculous to me. I know all sorts of stuff I'd be taking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The VtM powers were too over the top for me. Some were spot on, and those generally made the jump to VtR, but I was thankful that most of them were left behind. I agree. I actually really like what they did with the disciplines in VtR. Animalism is awesome now, and it always sucked beforehand.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh shit, we got another super chat.
Whoa.
May you have a bloody good stream. My vote is for V in second edition.
VtM, okay. That is a fair choice. VtM second edition.
Thank you for the $5, man.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, vicissitude.
Yeah, and quietus. Or quietus.
Quietus, yeah.
The Lasombra ability is kind of dumb, too.
I hard disagree.
Obtenebration?
Obtenebration.
Yeah. Shadow control?
Shadow control. I prefer it more... I would prefer Obtenebration more if it was just Abyss Mysticism from Dark Ages.
Yeah.
I think Abyss Mysticism is cool, especially for the Lasombra, obviously, but it should be a kind of blood sorcery. It makes sense. You know, vampires are walking corpses. They're creatures of nihilism, of entropy, of death. You get some of that with Mortis from the Cappadocians, but I love Obtenebration.
Yeah.
But I also really like the Lasombra. Although the Lasombra, along with many other clans, have had a sort of ping-pong history with regard to how they're portrayed.
Yeah. Most of the bloodlines were too much. Samedi, Gargoyle, Kiasid.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. They were all terrible.
Kiasid were the Fey-touched ones, right?
Fey-touched,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the base Camarilla first edition powers. True. Clan-specific powers, I would say, are some are a bit much. Actually, I've never read VtM first edition, so I can't speak to that, honestly. Oh, shit.
AI Biden struggling with words is lore accurate.
Lore accurate
It
Biden.
is lore accurate Biden for $2. Thank you.
Oh my God,
Blood
top
Quack,
guy.
top guy.
Yeah. Well, I think this sucks and feels way better, and I'm giving more money than you, so I win. Don't mess with me. Fat for real, no joke. Jack.
Thank you, Mr. President. We do appreciate you reading these super chats for us, and thank you, Butt Quack, for the $10.
Thank you, man. Very generous.
Let me see here. I think they just made a Tenebration as a result of the popularity of Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Maybe. I don't know. I never played.
I really didn't like that. What was it, like Tenebrous form or whatever, where like you have like a shadow form,
yeah.
where you have like tentacles and gives you extra. It's the same thing with like Teropter and Marauder form with Vicissitude.
Vicissitude sucks. It completely breaks any semblance of any vampire mythology. And Vicissitude was there just to make a bad guy clan, which the Lasombra and the Tzimisce were bad guy clans.
It's called Black Metamorphosis.
Okay. Black
Black Metamorphosis.
Yeah. Wow, he really butchered that one.
Again, lore accurate.
Yeah. Thank you for the $2.
Thank you, man. But because the Lasombra and the Tzimisce especially were designed just to be spooky bad guys,
Yeah.
they gave them these Clive Barker powers, which is completely not in keeping with anything vampiric related at all. So I do not like Vicissitude.
It's one of the things that I loved as a teenager, and now I'm like, that was so stupid. And one of the reasons that I was happy that it was not there in Requiem. Tenebration was always totally fine by me. Okay. There are no other vampires besides White Wolf VtM. I know it's a bad opinion, but it's mine, goddammit.
Nice.
Dare to Wonder's back. I like that in VtR you have clans and Covenant. Yes.
Yes.
Because the Covenants in VtM kind of suck. I mean, they don't really have Covenants. They have two factions, basically.
Right, there's two de facto factions.
3 if you count the Anarchs. But
No one should count the Anarchs.
I hate the Anarchs.
Anarchs are the worst.
Onion Kid, look at that. Vampire the
my
Requiem did
God.
nothing wrong.
He's
Absolutely right. Onion Kid is a true OG. Was following this channel before it was even Black Lodge Games, like 10 years ago.
Yep. Participated in it.
Did a lot of things wrong. Torah's Shadow Dark campaign is really fun. First session, we found these bowels. I think that's supposed to be bowls that grant luck for coins. My half-orc took the coins out, lost his luck, spat in them, which pissed off the gods. Nice.
Well, yeah, because he's a half-orc.
Are you in the game that he's running? That's the Shucked Oyster playtest, or at least that's a portion of it. Would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Shauner is asking for an encore from Trevor to make more videos.
Yeah.
But everyone asks him. Ander asks him all the time. We're not worthy.
Right.
You know.
That is true.
Unless.
Martine, I can't read any of this, so I apologize, but I thank you for your engagement. After conversing with the local priest, I soon regretted my actions and sought to repent. The gods gave my character a vision to retrieve a goblet of Saint Taragnus from a cult. We succeeded, and everyone was converted to the faith of Saint Taragnus. Nice. Girls Gone Vampire does it better, I'm afraid. Let me see here. Uses the TPS RPG. What was he talking about?
Total Party Skills?
Oh, yeah. Works for 4D roleplay.
It does. So I got to play in
Total Party Skills, yeah.
one of Mr. Mac's Crispy and Company's Mafia games, and it was very fun.
Whole bunch of systems, Shauner's saying. Bum, bum, bum.
Oh, all the like White Wolf lines.
Either
is this
that or
for
total party skills. I'm not sure. Shauner, you're too cryptic.
What we got here?
How many channels do you have on here? I don't know what he's saying here. Is there a fight going on? Hopefully. I got to do another video. This YouTube stuff is hard. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And I have not seen your video yet, but I did see that you posted it. We've just been too busy at the moment to do basically anything.
Yeah.
Not even. I killed my other one because it had poor video
man.
and audio quality. Yeah, that was
so sad.
Such a shame.
Internet archaeology.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. I got to do the internet archaeology on the Vampire the Masquerade YouTube experiment because I was able to log into the website and could still see everyone's characters, all the shit that was in there. It was awesome. So someday there will be a video on that.
Yes.
That's not for a long time, though. We got more important shit to do first. Mm-hmm. Hey, Sean, I've been watching some of your vids. You hate GMs speaking in second person. You see X.
That is true.
That is true. Yeah. Factually accurate.
Factually accurate. You should hate it too.
Or worse, you do X.
Or do I see X?
Yeah. What is the correct way to set a scene? There was a barkeep at the end of the bar. Or you think X. Yeah, that's a bad one. Come on, scroll down. Bum, bum, bum. Talking about second person stuff.
Uh-huh.
Shauner given some advice. Let the players look at things or touch instead of saying you look at it, you touch the thing, etc. The pub cramped, barely wide enough to accommodate the bar and a walkway. At the end is a bartender, bald, with an awful beard, cleaning a dirty glass with a dirtier rag. I'm right here, dude. Come on. What you're not doing is that you're missing out on an opportunity to create an engrossing atmosphere by using directly descriptive language.
Yeah, I think it's always better to use first person. Any language that gets you deeper into the character is best. Whether it's a description or, I'm playing a character describing my actions.
People reading Shauner's book. Nice.
Oh, nice.
All right. Videos are on me. All right. Trust me, guys. Vampires and green Kool-Aid don't mix. I've tried, and it always ends horribly.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means either. I missed most of this chat, but how should the GM answer if a character says, I'm looking into the dark hole? That's a very specific question. I don't know.
No, Shauner will answer.
Yeah. Mediocre, lame, normie game versus absolutely awesome game. Interesting choice for a video topic.
Which would you choose? Why do you keep choosing wrong?
Like it. Last night, Diversity and Dragons got them to be on time. That's correct.
That's correct.
Yeah. Bum, 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 bum. I know the least about these games in this whole chat. Wow.
Well,
Prepare to get educated.
Yeah, you're going to learn more.
Them SIGs won't smoke themselves. That's correct.
Damn true.
Let me put it this way. To describe modern Vampire the Masquerade, I would have to use slurs. Vampire the Requiem is an awesome personal horror mob game. That is true.
It is.
Late. Boys using my super chat monies to buy cigarettes. Not true. We've been using it to buy art.
Yes, for the Shucked Oyster.
For the Shucked Oyster.
And all the art is awesome.
Is really good. Makes me want a cig. That's right. Or a Zin. First person, blah, blah, blah. Getting a little ciggy with it. Hey, boys. Exactly.
That's right.
I've got the book for Vampire the Masquerade, but I've never played it. Now, which book for Vampire the Masquerade? V20 or V5?
Yep. Or first edition, revised edition.
Yeah, first, second, revised. Oh, shit.
We had a
super
sub.
chat.
Nope.
Oh, it was a sub.
Sub. We will take that as well.
We will take that as well. Exactly.
But either way, there we go.
Lowest is the Clash, if only because of Country to the East, which was cringe at.
I never got in.
Oh, Kindred of the East.
Yeah, I never
I
got
don't know what
into
the fuck
Kindred of the East.
is. I have no idea what Quaijin
I just knew
are.
it was
It's
the
stupid. It's a
Quaijin.
dumb
Yeah.
idea.
They showed up as a fucking squid monster in Bloodlines. I was like, this is just as stupid as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
First edition.
Oh, first edition.
$2, first edition.
Nice. Well, fortunately, whether you're doing first edition, 20th anniversary edition, 5th edition, or anything in between, our Vampire is a Mafia game video is applicable to any and all
Right.
editions of VTM.
Yes.
It's always how it should have been presented. It never was,
Yeah.
but
At least not.
Not
The thing is,
explicitly.
it's there, but it's just there's too many other things competing for the spotlight with it, and it's not as explicit as it needed to be.
right.
Oh, I guess you've never heard of the Giovanni, though, right? How many fucking times we got that comment? Jesus Christ!
So stupid.
Oh man, yeah, we got a lot of really good comments on that video because it blew up recently, like a lot. And we welcome anyone who's new, but we also got a lot of really dumb comments on that. Vampire is actually not just a mob game. You're leaving out the fact that they drink blood, and
Oh yeah, you know those disciplines.
it gives them superpowers.
I know shit. Oh, I
and
forgot.
They
I
live
didn't.
forever. It's like,
I didn't pick that
Oh
one
my
up on any of my
God.
readings.
yeah, holy shit! Wow, great contribution to the conversation. God damn, people.
Some people aren't gonna make it, man.
They're just not going to make it. They're not capable of making it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he then he was also like, "Oh, yeah, you're also ignoring Requiem and blah 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 blah." I was like, "Oh my god,
Dude.
shut the fuck up, dude." I am the Requiem fan. Look at me. You know, I have been cheering on Requiem since 2004 when it came out because
Yeah.
it was so liberating. One of the things that we're going to discuss. Because I have the energy of a sock puppet. Welcome, Spencer. Good to see you. I'm sick as fuck and I can't tell if it's pollen allergies or an actual bug. It could be both. You could be... Never mind. Are there big-titted goth girls in the Shucked Oyster?
Yes.
There is one, technically.
Yes.
Thanks to Captain Obvious for those video comments.
Yeah. Many Captain Obviouses. The good ship Obvious. But are there big-titted goth girls at the Shucked Oyster? There is...
There's a couple who could fit into that category.
Yeah, I would
depending
argue that Agnes falls into that category.
Agnes falls into that category.
Svetlana.
Svetlana. I could even see Veronica.
I hated Requiem when it came out because it was different, and I hate things that are different.
Yep, that was pretty much what...
That's 100% what all the hatred is.
The justified hatred for some of it was that it was basically tripping over itself and apologizing for the fact that it was not Masquerade. It was like, please don't hate me.
Certainly for first edition.
Yeah.
Do you play mage and why? Do an arch suck X?
Do you play mage and why do anarchs suck? We don't
I've
play
never
mage.
played mage.
Yeah, I've never played mage either.
I've always wanted to play mage, but the older I got and the more I read and watched about mage, the more and more I absolutely hate the traditions versus the technocracy dynamic. I think it's a very 90s conception of like magic and emotion and subjectivity versus cold, hard, dead objectivity. It's very much a 90s thing, which, you know, again, is fair. One day I will not read 20th Anniversary Mage cover to cover, but I will revisit it. Because
I will skim through it again.
I will skim through it
Yeah.
again, and I will find what is good about it, and I will put forth a correct perspective on Mage.
Yeah.
But with regard, what was the second part of the question? Oh, why do the Anarchs suck?
Oh,
Easy.
Any advice for getting your PCs to roleplay more?
maybe. Let us finish answering that question, and we'll get to this one in just a moment. Why do the Anarchs suck?
The Anarchs suck because they make no sense in a vampiric conspiracy. In vampires, it's in the name, Masquerade. The Masquerade exists even in Requiem. They don't call it VtM, obviously, but for a race of immortal bloodsuckers, there must be a conspiracy for them to exist in the modern day, even pre-modern. The humans, there's way more humans. They're awake at all hours. They have technology, and they can use it in ways that vampires can't understand. I don't care if you have 10 dots in whatever discipline, it doesn't matter. You are going to lose. And the idea of a bunch of rabble-rousing, anti-authoritarian...
Fuck the man!
Like,
fuck the man! Like,
even
it's so dumb.
There are Anarch Ancilla, and there are Anarch Elders. It does not make sense
Right.
for, 100, 200, 800-year-old plus years old vampires to be against the man, like a teenage punk.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. And also, how are the Anarchs organizing themselves? It's like, we're not calling ourselves princes. We're calling ourselves baronies. No, it's like you're just doing the Camarilla thing, and you could say, idiots will say, okay, well that's part of the depth to the Anarchs because they're sort of they're a doomed enterprise. Their heart's in the right place, but they too are being. Yeah, they're falling into the no. It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way.
It's also, I hate this thing of like their heart's in the right place.
Their heart's not in the right place.
You are immortal predators, drug addicts, and like you're monsters no matter what. There's no having your heart in the right place in a game of vampire. That's not how it works. That simply is not how it works.
The Anarchs are just the caitiff,
which are also stupid.
Yeah. Well, the caitiff...
I think I hate VtM.
So the caitiff, as certainly how they're presented in V5, they may have been presented this way as an option in previous editions, but it does not make sense for a super special snowflake character to mysteriously have Serpentis dominate and, presence.
Yeah. Now, the Setites are cool as fuck.
The Setites are cool as fuck.
But I think you've argued they should have been some sort of cult instead of a clan, right?
Yeah, the Setites should have been another, faction. There should have been more factions in...
Yeah. Oh, shit, $10.
I didn't say I disapprove you buying smokes. Here, get a pack. I have text left. So, one more thing, Jack. And one more thing, one to cuddle and sniff your hair while Ken pretends they didn't see it.
Thank you so much for the cigarette money, man. We will put it to good use.
Yes.
But we got to pay Patty first, so.
Let's come back to...
I got to pay the basic expert again for the second piece.
Oh.
John, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I'll send you the money ASAP.
Yeah.
Thanks for the reminder with the super chat.
Let's come back to the Setites and let's answer the question about roleplay.
Yeah. Any advice for getting your PCs to roleplay more? Thank you for the $2.
Mm-hmm. I think you just have to be upfront with your players and say, listen, this is what I want us to try to do. It's going to be more fun if we lean into it, I promise. Let's at least try to stay more in character than we have been previously. Mm-hmm. And we'll see how it goes. We'll see if they can do it. But if they aren't on board to do that,
it's very difficult.
Well, it's not possible.
Yeah.
Some people can't,
unfortunately,
and some people just don't want to do it. And you are never going to convince those people to roleplay more. So it's sort of a decision you have to make in your group. Yep. Who are you playing with?
Right.
You have a read on them. Are they going to do it or are they not?
Yeah, and it's kind of tough because if you're playing with your friends, you might really enjoy
basic experts art.
We'll get to you in just a moment. if you're playing with your friends, sometimes it's a lot of fun on its own. And I do encourage people to play with your friends. Like, even if you're not getting the exact kind of game experience that you want out of it, it's not worth blowing up your friendships over a role-playing game to be like, you guys aren't fucking role-playing, you know, like something like that. Like, that's not worth it. But consider starting a second group with different players.
Yeah.
In parallel.
Yeah.
I
have a lot of friends that I don't game with, or I have a lot of friends that I just know the score. You know, it's going to be a certain way, and that's just the way it is. So that would be the first step, and then really, if you have people who are like amenable to the idea, just say up front, hey, we're going to, and you don't have to start a new campaign for this or switch systems. Like, hey, going forward, let's try to do this. And another great channel out there is Table Runner Crispy.
Yes.
He was in the exact same situation.
Right.
He wanted to role play more, and it worked out for him. It worked great for him.
I think the way that he pitched that to his players was, I've really taken away your agency. Like, we've done a lot of times you're sitting down for story time with Crispy, you know, or there's just the expectation is that Crispy has an adventure for us. There's things are going to happen that I have to do. And it's more about like pitching it to your players as giving them more choice.
There really
and more
are
agency.
no rails here.
Yeah. So it's honestly a tough one.
Yeah.
Cause it's a mindset issue for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
We happen to mark Greenhagen for creating something so impactful as VtR Teller system. You have to have what Lore 5 to know is.
Whatever happened to Mark Reinhagen for creating such a game so impactful as Storyteller system? You have to have. Yeah. I don't know. I know he tried to create a game a few years ago, and I don't think it went well. I don't know why. I think there were some sort of financial issues.
Yeah.
But I know that he was sort of shoved out of the company.
Right.
Around the turn of the millennium, or it was earlier.
Like maybe 97 or 98.
97, yeah, like late 90s.
We watched the World of Darkness documentary that's free on YouTube. It's very good, and he talks about that, and it's relatively recent. It was like 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
That was made, but I know he's still around.
Mark
He's still out there.
Greenhagen was canceled.
Really?
Really? That wouldn't surprise me.
For what?
I don't know for what.
For making Vampire and it being awesome? That sucks. I would like to know what he was canceled for. Thank you for the $2. Thank you for the $5. And thank you for the tip for the Basic Expert.
Thank you.
Table Runner Crispy is in the chat right now. He said their expectations have changed, but know that it takes time, and some people just don't want to roleplay more than rolling dice. Yeah. That's what it's getting down to. Is it's a mindset issue. Mm-hmm. And of course, Crispy is of course our only moderator that we've ever had, and runs a great channel and is a great guy and great to talk to
player.
And a great role player. Yeah. T-shirted historian has had Mark Reinhagen on the Week in Geek twice.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Let's see if we missed some stuff.
Definitely have.
Yeah.
I saw someone talking about the fall of London. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
So I have things to say about the fall of London.
Jack McCarthy, you've never played Requiem and you're asking the chat for opinions?
You got to pick up VtR.
Yeah,
run a game.
This is why we're here, to tell you what to think. No. I remember telling someone one time, they were like, have you seen this movie yet? I was like, no, I haven't watched Red Letter Media yet, so I don't know what to think of it. I'm playing 5th edition using some old lore and disciplines in my game. I have no knowledge of VtR. Care to explain the difference? We will.
We will.
We definitely will. Where does 20th anniversary fit in here? That's VtM, basically, to me. Like,
well, that is VtM.
Yeah, that is VtM. V20 is good.
It's a consolidation of
everything
that was in the previous
editions.
It seems like it was a good job. I never played Vampire in the 90s, so I never played first edition, second revised.
I came in and revised, yeah. But that book is beautiful. It's got a lot of Tim Bradstreet's new art in it. It was really, really good. But I'm just not as enamored with VtM anymore. I'm just not.
And people should also check out, if they don't like the modern setting, a great game is VtM Dark Ages. Dark Ages VtM. And I would recommend the 20th anniversary version of that.
Yeah, Dark Ages is awesome.
So good.
Yeah. Excuse me.
The only bad thing about it was the Circle of the Crone. Thanks for taking Vampire back from Wordus on Reddit.
You are welcome.
You're welcome.
But
yeah.
I loved the Circle of the Crone. They were my favorite covenant.
Sort me out a creepy old man fish milk named Corn Pop that always seems to be around when kids go missing in the neighborhood.
Damn that Corn Pop.
So hear me out. Creepy old man, fish milk man named Corn Pop. For those of you who don't know, the fish milk refers to
It's
the
an old 90s meme.
Yeah, it's a meme about the Malkavian, and everyone made this fucking Malkavian. It's like the guy, it's like the crazy guy wearing a cheerleading outfit, and he's running around hitting people with fish. You know, like it's like this stupid, like that's what insanity is. You know, like, but
That's
yes,
just being
thank you for the
insufferable.
$5. I liked this. Well, okay, here's the thing. I didn't like Circle of the Crone in first edition. I do have the first edition Circle of the Crone Covenant book right here, which I have not read yet. I really like how they're presented in second edition, though. In fact, I like all of the Covenants better in second edition. I actually, let me take that back. I'm not sure I like the Lankea Sanctum as much in second edition. It seemed more like there was less of the church hierarchy there, which I liked that too much. That's the point. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll get to it though. We will get to it. I promise. We're just having fun talking to you guys. Shout out to Dark Ages Vampire Inquisition. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I guess we can start. We can start talking vampire, or
I want to see what the question about Fall of London was. Maybe impossible to find.
Because we can't read.
True.
Fall of London.
I thought there was someone asking about it.
You liked Fall of London, right?
So, Fall of London is...
My only experience with VtM was the 2004 video game. It was actually really good. Could never get a group together to run the game, though.
Yeah.
Bloodlines is the perfect Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle.
Right.
It touches on everything in a way that makes sense, in a way that's engaging. You meet up with all the clans, Camarilla clans, Anarch clans, Sabbat clans, Independents, some other supernatural creatures. It really works. It's a really great game.
It's one of the best, even though it was so fucking janky.
It was so janky. That's part of its charm at this point.
The first Source game released even before Half-Life 2.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
It was so fucking good, though. And still is. I think you can still get it running.
Yeah. All right, well, let's jump in.
Let's jump in.
Yeah.
So, Vampire the Masquerade versus Vampire the Requiem. I think you would say V5 is a good game. It has flaws. It is not perfect by any means.
It's deeply flawed, just like all of the VtM lines are.
Yeah. But it's a very good game and worth checking out.
One of the good things about VtM is it has a particular focus and a particular setting. And while I have never cared about the metaplot or the lore characters in any great detail, even setting aside the metaplot, there is a setting out there for VtM. You have the Camarilla, you have the Sabbat, you have the Jihad, you have these things that are in place. The what is it? The conception of generation. So there's sort of a structure here. And even with the metaplot, again, it's easy to ignore, but in any city that exists, there's going to be a very clear, particular structure that you can build your game world around. Because typically, both in VtM and VtR, at least how I've run it, the game really takes place in a city. Like, yeah, you can leave, but there
No,
typically
it's-
isn't a reason to.
But it's yeah, the game's scope is usually one city, but the conspiracy is global.
Yes, the Masquerade, the vampire conspiracy is global. There are elders and Methuselahs, 1,000-plus-year-old vampires who are out there somewhere pulling the strings. And because it is a global hierarchy, certainly the Camarilla is, and if you're playing VtM, you should be running a cam game, I would say. You can do a Sabbat game, but the Sabbat are... We'll get to the Sabbat because the Sabbat have been... There's two very different presentations of the Sabbat, and one is terrible and one is awesome.
Worst part of Strix, what gives man.
Oh, the Strix.
I like the Strix. I didn't for a while. If you look back at some of my earlier VtR videos on here, I think when I talk about Blood and Smoke, I was kind of like, whatever. But then I reread the New Orleans City book, which doesn't have the Strix in it at all because it was a first edition product. I was kind of reinterpreting that with including the Strix in it, and I was like I really, really liked him after that.
Yeah.
I was like, that's like a perfect supernatural undercurrent to throw in to cause some chaos and to give the vampires something to be afraid of, other than because it gives them something of the unknown.
I've never used the Strix before. Now I've only ever ran 2 VtR games, but that would be cool to see when eventually you run a VtR game.
When I run the New Orleans game, that I have always wanted to run.
Yeah, but so that's what I would say is from a conceptual framing standpoint. That's something that I like about VtM, and that there is a structure.
Yeah.
I don't like the metaplot. But it's easy to ignore. But it gives me that implied setting that we've talked about before that I really like. I know how to build a city, and I know it's more explicitly that mafia Sopranos kind of situation, and that's engaging and interesting, and I can make that happen.
Yeah, and I would also say, so with you saying you should be running a cam game, certainly if it's your first vampire game, you should be playing Camarilla, because this is what the game is.
Running a Sabbat game is like an advanced.
That's an advanced maneuver. And
I would say.
Yeah, for sure. Don't start with a Sabbat game, even though I did, but I was thrown into it. And I was good at it. But my thing is and a lot of the metaplot has been changed, or at least massaged for the new edition, correct?
Yeah.
Because at the end, and when Vampire came to an end, all of the World of Darkness games came to an end in 2003 with the Time of Judgment, this giant transmedia project that they did, that Bloodlines, the video game, was a part of the Time of Judgment. Huge push for everything. It was about making good on the progress, the promises of all of the Armageddons coming together. The apocalypse for the werewolves, the ascension for Mage, and Gehenna for the vampires. And goddamn, that Gehenna book is so bad. So bad. But they killed the line and then rebooted with the New World of Darkness. And so with the 5th edition of Vampire the Masquerade,
they had to walk it back.
Gehenna didn't really happen.
Yeah, or it did, but not in the way we think.
But not the way we thought it would.
Right.
Yeah.
Which there's no way to get around that if you're going to do a 5th edition at this point. Now, what you could have done is you could have done a couple of things. I think they did the best that they could have done, because again, we've said it before, or I've at least said it before, the worst thing about Vampire and the White Wolf products are the White Wolf fans. And
yes. Oh man.
What I would have done is I would have wiped the metaplot completely. I would have sort of reset the clock.
Yeah.
Is what I would have done.
It just still would have been the Final Nights.
it would have still been the Final Nights.
Yeah.
Gehenna is still happening. It's
It
just
is
not
still looming.
It's not
Yeah.
the year 2000. It's not the
Right.
Y2K situation, but people would not have liked that. The other thing you could have done, something I like in V5 already, is the idea of the Gehenna War, and
Yeah.
the jihad becoming a truly hot war
Yeah.
amongst vampires and amongst mortals at this point. And I would have made that more. I think a better idea would have made it to make it more explicit, because that would have made it clearer what the stakes are.
Yeah.
And it would have more clearly given justification for a lot of the good changes.
Yeah.
The other good changes.
Well, and that is the thing that I was kind of getting to with this, is that the meta plot of VtM, by the time that I was playing it, it was like I played right before the Time of Judgment stuff started. And there was so much meta plot. I came in right at the end, and I absorbed all of it. Like, I had like encyclopedic knowledge of the vampire lore, and it was cool. I liked it, but I felt when I was trying to run it that it was super, super constraining, and that it was very difficult to actually run a game without having reference to all this other shit. There was just too much shit going on in the world of vampire to do this sort of thing. What the fuck?
Whoa.
For puts more responsibility on the players, as they need to give meaning not just to their own life, but to the setting itself, as there is no absolute truth behind it.
What currency is that? Because that's a large number. ARS.
I think it came out to about like $2 and some change, I think, on the
that red
the pop-up,
color, though.
That red color. Either way,
I'm going to look this up for a moment. Nick, why don't you address this? Thank you for your
VtR
donation.
puts more responsibility on the players, as they need to give meaning not just to their own life, but to the setting itself, as there is no absolute truth behind it. I mean, yeah, that's completely
Argentine
the
pesos.
case.
There we go.
So, that's a big.
There we go.
That's a big positive of VtR. It's the fact that there is no metaplot. There is no real structure. Like, the Covenants exist and the clans exist, of course, but I think you would agree that is the big selling point for VtR, right? We're going back to the core elements, and we're auguring down on a personal horror story.
Right.
And
But even from the perspective of V5, V5, this being something in its favor over the previous editions, is that since they have sort of walked back that metaplot, and they're doing this new thing where you have the Gehenna War, you have the Beckoning, and you have these other things going on, but they're not sitting there advancing the timeline of the game. They're giving you a premise and a starting point to run with.
Because this, starting with the Beckoning as a thing, you don't. So the way the designers presented VtM 5th edition was that this frees up the world. Because a lot of the elders and a lot of the lore characters, who you may remember, are now away off stage, elsewhere, fighting this sort of nebulous Gehenna War, which is never really explained. Is it the antediluvians rising from their tombs, fighting with the Sabbat for the one final war? Who knows? It's sort of kind of presented that way. So this is like cleaning away all of the sort of calcified dross that's accumulated, which is good, and it does do that. But you could just as easily have sort of reset everything and just have this be, I don't want to say the status quo, but this is sort of the normal situation. This is just an aspect of vampiric existence. When you get that old, you go crazy, right? And this is something that elder vampires.
And you move to the Middle East.
You move to the Middle East. Why would you do that?
Permanently.
But this could be something that elder vampires just have to struggle with.
Yeah.
And maybe it's something that they try and keep hidden from the younger vampires, the higher generation vampires, or or not, or it's just something that's known. But that's interesting.
Yeah.
So I do like the Beckoning and the Gehenna War.
Yeah, and there's certainly some cool mechanical innovations, actual innovations in V5, like the Hunger Dice we've talked about a million times.
Yes,
is such
so
a great
good.
concept, because it like Frenzy is something that you can almost, if you metagame it, you can just get around it.
Yeah,
because it's fairly easy to avoid in a lot of circumstances, not always. But the Hunger Dice is like anytime that you're using any skills, it's not simply just your disciplines, right?
right. Anytime you do
anytime
anything
you're
that
doing
the dice are
anything,
involved.
the beast is rattling the bars of its cage. It's always there. It's trying to get out, and that's awesome. But for me, even with the flaws of Vampire the Requiem First Edition, and there were some big flaws with that game, the freedom from the metaplot entirely was just amazing. It was, and it's a game that has a very different focus. It is still this mob game. Like this is not something that's only applicable to VtM like at all, but there is much more of a dark mystery aspect to it. And part of that is because to play VtM or VtR First Edition, you had to have the blue World of Darkness book. That's the core rules for the entire game. And VtR didn't have rules for combat. It didn't have rules for all this other stuff. It had rules for the vampire specific stuff, like disciplines and all this other stuff. But it impressed upon you, because you had to read both of those books, that this was a very different take on the World of Darkness. And it was about this inescapable, like just these unfathomable dark mysteries that you could never fully solve. And it got rid of any sort of origin stories for vampires. It's like nobody knows. And when you go to sleep, you become, instead of having generation, where generation by generation the blood is getting thinner the more distant you are from Cain, it's just as you age as a vampire, your blood becomes more potent, you become more powerful. And this has big costs associated with it too, because you can no longer, you can't feed from animals forever. And eventually you can't feed from humans. They don't sustain you. When you're an elder, you have to hunt your own kind. And that presents a lot of problems because it's against the rules. You're risking getting blood bonded. Like there's all sorts of crazy shit with that. And over time, as you become more powerful, you stop waking up every night. And eventually you just stay asleep. You go into torpor, and you have to kind of let your potency cool off, so to speak. And while you're there, you're just having these dark, horrific, hungry nightmares the entire time that make Swiss cheese of your mind and your memory. So when you wake up, you're not certain about anything that you remember. Was that real? Was that part of the dream? And so no one knows what the origins are. It gets rid of all of this shit about Cain and everything, which I like. I think that's a cool metaplot, but the fucking thing was so ridiculous in VtM. Was like, yeah, the Sabbat are the bad guys, but they're right.
They are right. They are the bad guys in that they are monsters.
They are monsters, and they openly embrace being monsters. But this whole thing of like, the Camarilla are the dupes of the antediluvians. The elders know that the legends are true, and they actively suppress it. Like, to what end?
Right.
Well, I mean, obviously to serve the antediluvians. But the Sabbat are the good guys, as far as can be good guys in Vampire.
From the vampire perspective. They're bad guys who are right on a very
important issue.
Important issue.
Yeah.
The most important issue.
It's like, yeah, we're the bad guys, but we're right about God.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, God is real.
God is real. The antediluvians are real. Cain is real.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do about
now?
That? Yeah.
But it got rid of all of that. And as a game master, that was just so freeing. And thematically and from the atmosphere, I vastly prefer Requiem, because it's a much more personal game. and the focus is just so much smaller in scope with everything. Because it's
Right.
like you said, it's like every vampire game is usually going to be limited to a city, but there's no globe spanning conspiracy. Like this is like
Right.
truly points of light out in the dark of night. Like you you can be high up in a covenant in one city, go to another city, and that doesn't mean anything. You're in a complete, it's like
Right.
going to a different country.
That was one of the things I really liked in VtR, the explicit presentation of how different the reigns of the different princes are from city to city. It's like,
Yeah.
like, yes, the idea of a masquerade, never show proof of the existence of vampires to the mortal population. That is true in VtM and
Yeah.
in VtR. But basically beyond that,
Which demon?
Unpopular opinion, I really like Demon thematically. What do you do with a second chance was very interesting.
Is
Demon the
this
Fallen.
Demon the Fallen. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never
I
played.
haven't read Demon. I haven't read Demon the Fallen since I was in high school, so I barely remember it. But I do remember liking it.
I'm
But I
curious
was also
about
very
it.
cringe.
Yeah, probably.
I was very cringe in high school, so
I think that's a cool idea. I think I was more amenable to that idea when I was younger. Now I'm more of the opinion. If you are a literal demon, like you didn't get a second chance. That's
Yeah.
not. You fucked up once and for all.
Yeah.
I think I'd probably be against it. Although Demon the Descent is cool as fuck. A truly different and unique
yeah,
creature.
yeah.
In the Chronicles line, Demon the Descent. Very cool.
Both VtM and VtR sound like they created the same problem that the settings like the Forgotten Realms has. Too many powerful characters running around doing things that take away from the character's actions. Not
Not VtR.
Requiem.
Yeah,
Not
not
Requiem.
Requiem. And it's definitely
Just play the invisible college physician.
no.
simple as never. Because it can't be played.
Yeah.
It's nowhere near as bad as the Forgotten Realms.
No.
VtM. The problem is, this is also, I think, just a part of. Is it a '90s thing? It's. My recollection is almost everybody who sort of was introduced as sort of a badass character. You have badass in one degree or another.
Yeah.
You're either super sexy or you're super tough and you're just a killer. You know, you have Helena and Tally the Hound, and you have oh shit, what's his name? The Black Bruja who killed Hardestadt. I can't remember what
I
his
don't
name
know.
is. But
Broke, VtR, Woke, VtM, Bespoke, Buffy RPG.
I've never played the Buffy RPG, but I do like Buffy. It was a fun show. Theo Bell is what they're saying.
Theo Bell, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, yes. Theo Bell. I hate Theo Bell.
Yeah.
Olsen hate. Cringe City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam Haight,
The Abominations.
Beckett.
Yeah. Beckett.
I fuck Beckett.
And we
So
just
dumb.
saw yesterday
We just saw Matt Mercer.
Matt Mercer playing Beckett on
in, LA by
Night.
Night.
It's so bad.
Yeah,
So bad.
but
But
what was the
VtR,
Forgotten Realms?
yeah,
right? It's
VtR
not as
doesn't have
bad.
that problem at all because you do have some high level elders in every city, but that's generally to basically create the power structure there for you to get involved in. And there's a couple of, there's like the Unholy, who's like a nomad who goes around just fucking wrecking cities. Like she'll basically come in and pose as like a neonate. And then a few years in, after she's built some sort of reputation, just burn everything to the ground and
Yeah.
leave. It was a really cool character. But the Dark Mystery was the thing that I loved about Requiem, and it had problems when it came out. I understand some of the criticism that it got when it came out was correct. Mechanically, it fucking sucked. There was all the physical disciplines were terrible. Everybody house ruled it. every single person, because in a lot of ways they were overpowered in VtM prior to that. Like every dot of potence you had was just an automatic success on strength, and which was just absurd. Like it's not resilience, fortitude. You know, same way. Celerity was utterly broken in that it gave you all these extra actions. And so they made fairly big changes in Requiem to that, and they were not great. They fixed that in the second edition. But beyond the disciplines issue, the biggest thing was that I think they wanted to do a reboot of Vampire and take this new direction, but they were too afraid to actually commit to it because Requiem really didn't have much of an identity when it first came out. There were some very cool ideas, like the Lancea Sanctum were awesome. Ordo Dracul, awesome. Pretty much, you know, the Invictus is essentially the Camarilla.
Right.
But it was like the Carthians were so bad.
I never liked the Carthians.
They were
you
so
told me
bad in first edition.
They got better,
They
but
did,
I hated the Carthians.
because in first edition, it was like they weren't even anarchs. They were literally like, we're vampires who want to get rid of the feudal system and have democracy. It was just like,
what are you
just
even
social.
talking
They're
about?
basically just social democrats for vampires. It was fucking stupid. In Requiem 2e, or as my copy says, because it was before they got the license, Blood and Smoke, the Strix Chronicle, the Carthians are much better because they're treated as like revolutionary commies. And I think that change was made by the time that their Covenant book came out. The identity changed very much to,
I see.
These are like communist revolutionaries. These are what Antifa thinks they are. You know, it's more like 19th century bomb throwing anarchists, as opposed to like, fuck the man, because their whole thing is not like, oh yeah, overthrow the system, freedom and equality. It's like, no, overthrow the system and put our system in place.
Right.
And it's like, this is not going to be fun for you. You know, equality does not mean what you think it means.
Right.
You know, so they're way, way cooler and way more dangerous. The Circle of the Crone, I thought they were okay in first edition. They're just kind of like the blood magic and witches and whatnot.
That's when I first read it. That's what I honed in on, because I like magic usually in systems, but I wasn't really sure how to use it, because like a pagan or a neo-pagan blood goddess worshipping cult thing.
That's the thing that
Like, I don't know how that works in the modern day.
It works if you tailor it to specific religions, which is one of the reasons that the New Orleans book is so good, is that the Hierophant of the Circle of the Crone in that is, it might be Baron Samedi. I don't know. Baron Samedi is the
Voodoo.
right,
Loa
but
god.
it's no. He's trying to channel Baron Samedi, but it's Baron Samitier, I think is his name.
Okay.
He's like a really old Nosferatu who's really high up in the Circle of the Crone, and the Circle of the Crone is all centered around voodoo.
Matt Mercer playing Beckett sounds so bad that at them firing the writer for Vim from Bloodlines 2, among other screw-ups, pale in comparison.
Yeah. Talking about Matt
Them
Mercer
firing
playing
the
Beckett.
writer. Oh
Yeah,
for
yeah.
the first Bloodlines Bloodlines 2 will not.
It's going to be
good.
terrible. There will be nothing.
I go back and forth on whether it will come out.
Yeah, I don't know.
I hope that it doesn't at this point.
It looks very bad, though.
Yeah,
and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the
they've-
$5.
They've learned. They've taken all the wrong inspiration.
Right. But the so the Circle of the Crone in the first edition, if you tailored it to an actual religion, like taking it to Haitian voodoo, that was fucking cool. But outside of that interpretation, I didn't really like it. Second edition Circle of the Crone is much cooler because it's also not presented as this ancient covenant that goes way back. It's only
that
like
also
200 or
defeat-
300
that's-
years old.
Well, and it would have to be for the rest of the VtR, like metaphysics, to be true. If nobody knows where vampires come from, how
Right.
can you, like, carry forward a primordial, like, matriarchal, like,
Right.
dark goddess worship?
And this is, I'll have to read the section again. I don't think it's as much in that direction, because the whole thing was,
Okay.
it's born out of Ireland in second edition, and basically like the Linkea Sanctum going through and just like annihilating all non-believers and
Okay.
then banding together and basically discovering Kruak, the blood sorcery,
sorcery, yeah.
and having this like this network where they can communicate very, very quickly. And their whole thing is now centered around embracing the monstrosity and embracing like, you are a predator.
I
You
remember
are a
that
beast.
being
This is
the
not
case.
like, do not have any illusions about what you are. You are not a human anymore. And
Right.
they made it a much more visceral and violent thing on the edge, because it's like there's not much structure to it. And so it's like when they're threatened, they can come together and do tremendous acts of violence very quickly, but there's no like head to cut off of the snake, you know?
Got it.
So it's much less hierarchical, much more dangerous, and the vibe on it is way cooler in second edition. The vibe on everything in second edition is way cooler. The clans are even better. And let's talk about clans. Vampire the Masquerade has too many fucking clans.
They have way too many.
Way
clans.
too many. Most of them, and probably your favorite clan, is fucking retarded.
True.
So many of them are so dumb. They're just
Yeah.
dumb. There's
And-
a couple of them that are really good.
Right, and a lot of that was a fact that they were later additions. So VTM started with 7 clans, and as the game blew up in popularity, they kept filling in the world and adding more clans. And a lot of these subsequent clans are very boring and stupid. Like, it's the, you know,
I mean, my favorite is Malkavian, so.
the Malkavians,
Malkavians are cool.
The Malkavians are cool.
Okay.
Just most people who play them are
Suck.
terrible
Yeah.
and can't do it.
The problem is not the Malkavians. The problem is the people who play the Malkavians.
Right. But a lot of the subsequent clans were very boring. Okay, like the Ravnos, they're vampire gypsies. And the Setites initially as described were not.
Ventru favorite.
Venture were cool as well.
Ventrilo cool. Yeah.
Yep.
Good taste. Good
the
taste so far.
Good taste.
We'll
Assamites
see what
are
else you guys got. Who's got
assassin.
bad taste in the chat?
Hopefully no one here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but who cares about Arabian assassins? It's dumb.
It's dumb.
It really is terrible.
Because that's also one of those things that's so narrow.
Well, yes, it's narrow, and that's why they drew problematic players. They were actually playing Assamites correctly.
Right.
You know, in a
It's
sort
just
of
that
tongue-in-cheek-
Assamites were dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I have an assassination discipline called Quietus.
Yeah.
Okay, clearly they want me
Banu hacking for the win. Kololo.
to. What is this? Oh, Banu Hakim for the win. No.
Wrong.
They tried to make them cooler in.
You're
more
goddamn
interesting
right,
in V-
Maliki. It is the best YouTube channel ever. Thank you.
Yes. But yeah, even the initial 7 clans in VTM were.
Tremere.
See, I love the Tremere.
I hate the Tremere.
So I really like the Tremere. But so the Tremere were one of the 7 core clans.
Yeah.
Bruja, Gangrel, Malkavians, Nosferatu, Toreador, Tremere, Ventru.
The Truha was a dumb idea. Yeah.
Oh, the True Bruja. So dumb.
So dumb.
So dumb.
I don't even really like the Bruja.
So the Bruja were never done right. They could never commit to the bit where the Bruja are just angry bruisers.
Yeah.
They tried to like backdoor in this like origin story to them of being philosophers, which
I know,
made
it's-
no sense whatsoever. The Bruja from the start should have just been augur in on that. They're angry, violent people.
Right.
It's a violent clan. That's fine. Vampires are violent. They should have been the most sort of in tune with the frenzy.
Yeah.
Gangrel are animalistic. The Nosferatu is basically what the Nosferatu are in VtR. From a thematic standpoint, they did a lot of cool stuff in VtR with how the Nosferatu curse is. But talking about the Tremere I like. So the Tremere and the Malkavian in VtM are the most unique and interesting from like a thematic standpoint, because there's no vampire archetype for a clan of insane people, and there's no vampire archetype for a bunch of wizards.
Yeah.
Basically, but
That's the problem.
But that's what I like about the problem with the Tremere isn't the Tremere. The problem with the Tremere is that they were a canonical Camarilla clan. The Tremere would have been, and this is how I would run Tremere, is I would have them be an independent clan. No one trusts the Tremere.
Right.
Why would you? But I do think it's cool. A bunch of ambitious, godless, power-hungry wizards said, I'm not ever going to die, and we're going to round up, do crazy magic and spellcraft on these wizards or these vampires and steal immortality from them. That is cool. That is what an evil wizard would do.
That is true.
But no one would ever like them or trust them.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, they did. It's like, oh, because the Tremere have blood sorcery, they're too indispensable. I get it. It's stupid. The Tremere would have been way cooler if they were kind of like a bogeyman clan.
So what you're telling me is the Tremere as written are fucking dumb.
Yes.
Okay. We heard it here.
The
Tremere as written, the thing is, like, sure. But this is why we are going to fix the clans for you guys.
Right.
Don't worry about that.
We are going to do clan videos.
We are going to do clan videos, and they're not going to be, here's the 10 things about the lore that you need to know.
Who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit about any of that? We're going to fix the clans and delete some of them.
Delete some of them.
But yeah, I understand. The kernel of the idea is fucking cool, but that was never executed.
It was never executed well. And honestly, the gimmick of most of the clans has never been implemented well. For any of them, really. Some of them work just because of what they are. Nosferatu, I get it.
Yeah.
Like, cool, got it. They're cursed. They look truly inhuman. They're inhumanly ugly and deformed. In VtR, it's a little bit different, or it can be a little bit different. And they have obtenebration. They have disciplines that allow. Or I keep thinking about the Lasombra.
Lasombra, yeah.
They have obfuscate. That makes sense. They hide in the shadows. They hide in the sewers, in the places where humans don't want to look and they don't want to be. Got it. Very cool.
The Giovanni are cool.
Wrong. As a licensed Dago, I can. This is deeply hurtful to me. So there is an interesting like origin story to the Giovanni of like coming out of the Cappadocians, and I always really liked the Cappadocians.
Yeah.
The idea of a clan of death, that is cool. But again, just like the Tremere, it's even worse with the Giovanni than the Tremere. The real presentation of them all being Italian mobsters. And it's like, I know there's more to it than that. There's the Dunstan
but didn't you guys say that vampire is a mob game? So shouldn't you like the
shut
Giovanni?
Up. Yeah, it's like so stupid.
This doesn't make sense.
Yeah. The Giovanni should have been in the Camarilla.
Were they not?
No, they were independents.
What? Oh my god. I forgot about that.
The Giovanni absolutely would get in bed with the Camarilla.
Yes.
That makes them the most
If
power
the
money.
Camarilla is like a Matthew family, the Tremere would fit right in. since mafia families have useful backstabbers abundant in their ranks.
But not wizards.
But this is the thing. Yes, not wizards. But this was the point we made in our mafia video, our vampire mafia video. So the Camarilla is
currently playing in a V20 game, big fun.
Hell yeah, man.
James Gang, nice. Thank you for the $5, man.
The Camarilla is like La Cosa Nostra. That is the mafia. The 5 families or the 7 families of the mob are the clans.
Yeah.
So you have the Bruja family. You have the Nosferatu family. That's how it really should work. And that also, this is also something that got overlooked in VtM. The clan dynamics and the clan politics, that family politics, that should be more at the forefront of your character's interactions and loyalties than the Camarilla. It's like me and my sire, me and my clan, me and the Camarilla. That's sort of that should be the order of operations. That, like, of course, you could have like a hateful relationship with your sire or with anybody for that matter, but basically from a thematic framework standpoint, that's how it works.
Independent clans were a mistake, period. How is anyone supposed to play a Giovanni in a Camarilla game without just hand-waving the problems it would cause?
You can't.
Yeah.
Or you can't without, like, on-ramping a huge amount of, like, caveats and, like, you have to write lore for your...
But here's the thing, like, we are going to fix these clans, we are going to delete some of them, but the clans are a massive problem in VtM, and they're all riddled with problems, like, with a select few exceptions.
Right.
You know what doesn't have that problem?
Requiem.
Because they recognized that a lot of this shit is stupid, and of course then they made it worse later on, because how could you not when there's money on the line? But but they took what was initially supposed to be 13 clans and, you know, ballooned to like 21 or something.
With
I don't remember.
bloodlines.
Just like, well, no. I mean, it's not even bloodlines. There's literally like more than 13 antediluvians or something. Like if you go, it was, oh God, this was so stupid. There's so many fucking clans.
Well, there's also there's
like
non-European clans. There's like the African clans,
right?
And
There's
the like Mesoamerican clans.
You go into what is it? The city of Enoch or whatever. It's like it's in the fucking.
Enoch was Cain City in the lore.
Yeah. So when you go there, because it's like it's still a place.
You would want to play one.
Salubri are the worst.
Fucking stupid.
Because the Salubri were meant to be vampire good guys.
Good guys. Yeah, get out.
Yeah, no.
This is the wrong game.
You've done it wrong.
Yeah, but
the Tremere did nothing wrong in exterminating the Salubri.
I remember when we were playing, you get to Enoch and it's like you see the 13 like statues of the 13 clan founders, only there's like 22 of them or something like that. It's like, you know, like, and I think that was from one of those stupid Black Hand books that was written. But the clans are such a fucking huge problem. And they made the decision in Requiem, and this was the correct decision, to pare the clans down, but instead of focusing on these like, oh, well, what if I had this cool idea for mobster vampires? Or what if I had this cool idea for sorcerer vampires? It was, let's take the actual archetypes from folklore of vampires. And they boiled it down to 5 clans. And the reason these clans are awesome is because they are based on the archetypes of the myth of the vampire.
Right.
And so it solves so many problems right out the gate.
And those are what? Gangrel, Nosferatu, Maquette,
Deva,
and Ventru.
Yeah.
The Deva are so cool.
The
They're
Deva
so much
are
better.
so
the
much
Deva
better.
curse is the best curse.
It's the best cursed.
Yes.
It's one of the most interesting curses. Requiem has the most interesting curses. No, but it's so much better because they took like, I hate the Toreador. I'm sorry, I fucking hate the Toreador.
Yeah,
they're stupid. Their clan weakness is I get enamored by beauty. It's like the ultimate parlor drama.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's like I was going to make fun of it and say that this is like the typical Anne Rice vampire, and it's not. The typical Anne Rice vampire is a Deva. The Toreador was a very poor implementation of that. It was a very stupid implementation of it.
Right.
I hate them. The Deva are awesome though, because the Deva are absolute apex predators, but they become, it's like they're completely hollow. And they become enamored with the people they feed on. And they become addicted to them and obsessed with them. And so this is, again, it's like, it's a character, it's very much like a character-driven curse. You know, it's not...
Which, having a character-driven curse in almost every situation, I think is preferable.
Yes.
The Nosferatu, that makes sense. That's not character-driven or personal in the same way, but it is, though.
But it is. So, like, but the thing is, again, this all is... this was sort of there. The seeds of this was all there in first edition, and it was a little bland, but it really wasn't until about halfway through first edition that Requiem really got its legs and solidified its own identity as separate from Vampire the Masquerade. And at that point, when people were still saying Requiem sucks, that's when I was like, you're fools. You are absolute fools, because it became the superior game to me. Because all of the curses are, especially by the time in first edition, when the clan books started coming out, which is in that latter half, that's when you start getting the clarification on the archetype and on the curses and on the personal stakes and everything like that. And the curses in second edition are all personal. Like the whole issue of the Nosferatu, it's not just that they wear the curse on the outside and they're ugly or that they're just disquieting and weird. It's that they are the most inhuman. Like they have your curse is humanity related, which makes you very creepy and off-putting to people, because anytime you're interacting with mortals, it's like you're interacting at a lower humanity than you actually are rated at even.
Okay.
Like it's fucking crazy.
Now I don't remember. Was there a meaningful difference in how humanity was portrayed in VtM as opposed to Requiem?
Not in first edition. They were basically identical.
And humanity is terrible.
It's way better in second edition.
Yeah. Well, it's terrible in VtM as well.
Yeah.
It's the worst. It's the worst it's the worst portrayal of... It's an attempt at a theme that was so poorly implemented.
Yeah.
It's god-awful.
It's much better in Requiem, in my opinion, because it's not simply a litany of sins that you can commit, that this will bring you down.
The problem
you can't commit murder at Humanity 7, But the thing was that the murder was also at like way low on the list. It was like that was a sin all the way down to like 3 or something stupid.
Yeah.
Which is absurd if you're playing vampire. But the thing with humanity in here is that it's like you reach breaking points. It's like it is a little bit different.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But you also become whatever sin that you committed that caused you to lower your humanity. You become numb to it. That no
That's
longer
right. That no longer affects you. Yeah.
And humanity, again, it's not about like this code of behavior. It's about how
good guy points.
Yeah, it's not good guy points. It's how much do you still identify with what it was like to be
alive
and to be alive?
Ventru, dominate galore.
VtR Ventru, VtM Ventru are greater than VtM Ventru. Dominate galore. They had dominate in both, though, right?
They did.
Yeah.
Maybe the dominate powers are better in Requiem. I don't know.
I don't remember how they did change dominate, because I remember they got rid of, at least in second edition they changed dominate, because they got rid of level 4, which is just conditioning.
Oh, really?
Which was never. It was something. It was very hard to actually use.
Right.
Because it was just like, oh, the more time you spend in someone's presence, like the more you exert influence on them, and it's harder for them to resist you. But it's not like an actual power that you can execute. And I know that they did change that in here. The physical disciplines are all different. The other thing I love about this is that Requiem First Edition introduced a fucking awesome idea that was so poorly executed, which was Predator's Taint.
Oh,
which
right,
was
you
the
can
idea
sense- yeah.
that you can sense other vampires around you. And if they're of a stronger blood potency than you, you're afraid of them because it's like
Right.
there's a much more dangerous predator in the room,
Which is very cool.
which is very cool. The problem is that it would trigger a fight or flight response
Yeah,
in first
yeah,
edition, and
like,
it made
how
it
am I in the
impossible.
room? How am I doing the Elysium?
Yeah, it's like, how do you do Elysium? How do you do anything where you're called in to deal with an elder because you're just gonna shit your pants or
Right.
freak out and kill someone? Like it was an unworkable system. They really fixed Predator's Taint in second edition, and it's so good because it's more than. It's not even that like, oh, I feel the supernatural presence of it. It's like you see the cues of like their breath is too shallow.
Right.
You see how they're looking at other people. It's like, you know, they're a predator.
Right.
And you can lash out with your beast to cause a fight or flight response in someone else. But you can also do
Like
this.
if Harvey Weinstein met Jimmy Savile.
Sort of,
Exactly
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, that's what we were saying. But it's like you can lash out. It's not only with like that predatory aura. It's like you can lash out with a seductive aura. Like you can do this,
Yeah, you
and
can
you can
change
do
the
it to
flavors.
people. Yeah, and it does. The VtR does have conditions, and so it inflicts these conditions on people, which I'm not a huge fan of, but. It's a much cooler way of doing that system. It was way better. And oh man, they fixed Auspex. Like it's way cooler. Like instead of aura reading, they got rid of that entirely and replaced it because that was like a superpower. It's Auspex 2, and you get
Right.
instantaneously know if someone's a Diablerist at all
Yeah.
times. Like it's so fucking stupid. But they changed this so it's like you're basically like asking the beast for information, and it gives you like weird cryptic symbolism that gives you information about the game. Like the physical disciplines all got overhauled. They have persistent effects and active effects, which are really cool. Like I said, animalism was beefed up, or not beefed up, but just changed to be much cooler. I always loved the Nosferatu power of Nightmare, of making the. It's not simply that like, oh, they have stealth and they have animalism and they have super strength. It's like, no, they have this own thing that they
Not
do
instant.
that's
I
fear
think
based.
You needed 3 successes to fate.
Not instant. You did 3 successes, diff 8.
For something we were
For
just
the
talking
Predator's
about.
Taint?
Maybe.
Or for...
I think you needed 3 successes for Auspex. Oh, for aura reading. Okay. 3 successes at difficulty 8, which is tough. But that still was ludicrous that you could do that. Obfuscate is also much cooler. The whole thing, it's a very, very different flavor of vampire that I very much prefer. I wish it had the hunger die mechanic. Now that I know about that, because that's a like
so cool.
legitimately superior
I do
thing.
not think it would be that difficult, especially because V5 took a lot of inspiration from Requiem second edition.
Yeah.
And they did consolidate a bunch of the discipline powers in
Right.
Masquerade. Really, the best thing about 5th edition is the best parts are the areas in which they took the world seriously and made the necessary changes and dove in deeper to the areas that needed it. Like we were talking about Predator's Taint. In V5, this is a totally different, it's not a corollary mechanic, but it has Predator in the name. One of the really cool things, never even considered it, makes perfect sense though.
Oh,
is
yeah.
Predator types.
Yeah.
If you are a guy who every night for a year, a decade, a century, a millennium, is feeding on human beings, you develop, or you have an inborn... There's a certain way in which you are hunting for blood. You have a predator type. Are you breaking into someone's house, and are you feeding on people while they're asleep?
Yeah.
Are you just mugging them? Are you seducing them?
Right.
Are you trying to do the Louis thing and not feed
Right.
for as long as you can on humans or feeding from animals? How are you doing this? And there are a number of different sort of ways, and you get certain positives and negatives mechanically based on that, which also makes sense. It's
Is this the blood sympathy or
no? That's something
no.
else, which is also very cool. This is a predator type.
Predator
So are
type,
are
okay.
you like a sandman, like just
Yeah.
someone who's feeding on people while they're asleep, which is creepy as fuck.
Really fucking creepy.
Are you? I forget what they're all called, but do you have basically a herd? Have you
Yeah.
developed a cult of personality by gaslighting people and convince them to give you your blood willingly?
Yeah.
Again, are you just mugging them? Are you seducing them? Are you feeding from a particular type of person? And how are you going about it? That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
You would have a way about you. This becomes basically part of your nature and a
Yeah.
part of...
Are you a Nick Jr. exec or a BBC exec, basically?
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, which is very cool. But what you were talking about blood sympathy is also really cool. Again, something I never thought about, but it's not something that's required, but it's so cool. The idea of sort of you are what you eat.
Yeah.
Different, and it's taking inspiration from sort of the four classic humors, phlegmatic, black bile, yellow bile, what is it, blood and phlegm? The different people have different emotional temperaments, and the emotion, the life, you could say, the flavor of the life that is in human beings, and the degree to which they are feeling it at the time of feeding, can give you powers, basically. And you can use it. The blood can use the blood in certain very cool ways. So it incentivizes you as a character not only to think about how are you hunting, your predator type, but who are you hunting? Because mechanically you can get benefits, but the role play impetus in this, like, I'm going to feed. It's going to empower certain skills or disciplines or what have you. If you feed from someone who has sort of crippling depression or is is suicidal, they want to they want to disappear from the world, or they have some sort of crazy anxiety. That might make your obfuscate better.
Yeah.
It might make your subterfuge
so
skill
cool.
better. It's like that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Like we are talking about crazy magic anyway. We're talking about vampires, right? Why wouldn't it be this way?
Right.
Yeah.
And that makes it
It's
makes
so
it much
cool.
more interesting because it incentivizes you to actually go out and do some hunting.
And this is the thing.
That is something that I think is probably put over more in V5 than it is even in Requiem.
Yeah.
Is the importance of hunting and
That's-
actually doing it.
That is the best thing about V5. The advent of the hunger die mechanic, blood resonance, and predator types.
Blood resonance. That's the
Everything-
name for it because blood sympathy is from Requiem. It's a different thing.
But V5 is trying to stop you from hand waving hunting scenes, which is correct.
Yeah. Because everyone just treated blood points as their blood battery. I'm going to stop off at the gas station,
Right.
top myself off. People would joke about that in game too. Like, I'm just going to go have a glass of O positive. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
To top off at the nightclub. It's like, it's so fucking stupid. It's like, that is part of the game. Like,
Yeah.
At least it should be.
It should be. And this is, again, you're a vampire.
Right.
The moment when you are locked in the embrace is when you are closest to being alive.
This isn't about make vampire nerds.
This isn't about MCDM, vampire nerds.
You're right.
That's
The
true.
stream is not about
It is not about that. And we
Vampire
are
the Masquerade
yeah.
is a game that came out.
Yeah. But yeah.
So is Requiem.
So yeah, for me, Requiem the whole thing is the thematics, the scope. It's better at personal horror. I think it's got a much cooler vibe.
At least troll for feeding to see if you fail.
At least troll.
At least roll for
Have you
feeding.
given thought making a new one, like setting games with better writing and better rules, make new and better games in the genre style?
Making a new World of Darkness setting, lore, make better rules.
Yes,
We have thought
we
about
have
it.
thought about it
But
a lot.
yeah,
And it's tough because I think that the player as monster games have already been done,
yeah.
and they've already been done extremely well.
Yeah, no one is going to top White Wolf. I think
Yeah.
certainly with regard to if you're trying to play a vampire,
There's not going to be a better
VtM and VtR.
Yeah.
I think they did it perfectly.
right.
And like we said this before because we have been thinking about it a
We've
lot.
been-
It's like
yeah,
for
literally years.
For literally years, I don't want to be a monster.
right.
Like it is very much like a 90s thing, but it's also it does have like a dark anti-human,
Yeah, very
like
much.
it's not good, it's not heroic, it's
No.
not, you know.
And in the 90s, in a much better time, a much brighter time, happier time, there was room for having something that is edgy and subversive and really riding the line, like Vampire
That's
was.
why Mage is better in my opinion, mostly.
Yeah, but it's just now, like, we live in the world of darkness.
It's so much worse.
So it's so much worse than it used to be. And so, like, I don't want to make a game. Like, I will still play Vampire. I like Vampire.
Yes.
But it has soured for me a lot because of this. Because it is, you are the monster, and this. I live in the world of darkness.
Yeah, we
I
live in the
don't-
world of darkness. We're surrounded by monsters.
By monsters.
And evil everywhere.
and I hate nihilism, and Vampire in the end is a sucker's game, like from the character perspective, because you're trapped, you're a monster, there's no way out, and you're
Right.
never going to. The best that you could ever hope to do is that
I
you,
also like Werewolf, but the politics are cringe.
yeah,
True.
but it's like the best you could hope to do is maybe not be as bad as the next guy.
Right. Right.
That's not a vision that I ever want to make in a game. Like I like heroism, and the way to do it would be to be barbecuing the vampires. That would be the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. The best
Um,
stories are like life affirming and humanity affirming
Right.
stories. So
Yeah.
we probably will not make a game where
We will never make
where
a game
you are the vampire.
where you are the vampire. That's just not something we'll ever make. Excellent point. Current day world of darkness. Can you imagine a game where you play the elites and secret societies? Dark. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't want to play the Illuminati,
Yeah. Right. I don't want to play the lizard people.
I don't want to be the deep state. Sometimes it's hard to remember how good the 90s were. Yeah, it was different. I mean, there's things like on some margins, some things are better now, for sure. I
Right.
will never go back to 1990s internet speeds. You couldn't pay me enough to go back in time to that. But there was certainly a better vibe, so to speak. I heard the best games involved a brothel that occasionally burns down. That's true.
True.
They do. Thank you, Chubby Funster. Good to see you, man. Everybody go check out his products. I think his he just
yeah.
had some new
He has some really
proofs come in.
cool stuff out there.
yeah. We were looking at your drive-through the other day. Excuse me. Hunter the Reckoning BLG edition.
No.
I don't know. This is something we have to give a lot of thought.
Yeah.
And we're not the only people who have thought of this. Is the other thing. So it's, I don't know. I love these games. They will always have a place in my heart, but like I said, they have soured. And as much as we have been talking them up, ultimately this is not the kind of thing that I want to spend.
That we want to put out there and spend a lot of time.
I don't want to think about developing this game because this is a very dark thing to come up with.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly hate the one roll resolution system for combat. That I can't play any new World of Darkness. Also, who says Potence and Celerity were OP? Do vampire players just hate having fun?
The one roll.
So
This
combat.
is like the one rolling out.
There's no. So in New World of Darkness, you have like defense stat. Essentially, it's a static defense. Celerity can push that, but it's basically the attacker gets their dice pool.
Hey, I'm Steve, my Goomba from another one, Mom. What's your favorite Seeming Court in Changeling the Lost? Will likely come up later.
The Autumn Court is my favorite court.
So say I have my my dice pool to attack you. Your static defense rating subtracts dice from that pool. I roll any successes or damage against you. So it's a single roll.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Autumn Court are cool as shit. I really like Changeling the Lost. Again, it's a shame the fans are the worst. The fans are the worst. They ruin a good thing. Yeah.
This is the thing. No, having played we got Biden TTS coming in.
I think the goal would be to beat the curse.
It's not possible.
But it's not possible.
You can't beat the curse.
Yeah. And it's kind of certainly for VtM, it's like more evil in some way to try. Like God did that to you.
Yeah.
Like
I had this bad character idea, a Malkavian Catholic monk who heard the Cain story and decided to save vampire kind by seeking forgiveness from God.
You can definitely
Dark Age.
try.
Yeah, I mean that's a fine character.
That's a fine character to
Character
play.
goal. Because the character doesn't know that they're
Yeah, they do. The character knows they're damned.
They do, but I'm saying if you believe in like Golconda, like the fact that like objectively,
I hate Golconda.
Golconda is stupid.
Yeah.
But
that's
as
also
as a character,
this is why I liked Paths of Enlightenment.
Paths of Enlightenment are the best things about this spot.
and this is also why I liked the Ordo Dracul and the Linkea Sanctum, because they have these philosophies of like the Ordo Dracul being like, no, we are going to. It's not like there is the aspect of like you were saying that like beating the curse, but it's like transcending it, finding this way to make permanent changes to ourselves where we become something else. But you're still not getting away from the fact that you're this monster.
Right.
Whereas like the Linkea Sanctum is like you are a monster, and that is your role.
Right.
Like that is what you can do to contribute to the salvation of others, although you cannot be saved.
Right.
The ideas are what's really cool, but the
Yeah. But again, that character concept is a cool character concept, but it will end in tragedy.
It'll end.
Which is fine
doomed.
if you know that, but you are playing vampire.
Yeah.
What do we got here?
Yeah, but the way a Malkavian seeking forgiveness would do so would be consuming the flesh of humanity to become closer to them. Yeah, and
Possibly.
there's it's kind of hard to hear that sadness in your voice as you mentioned not feeling the setting anymore, Bald Frazier. Shit hits close to home for me too. Y'all got me back into World of Darkness.
A modern-made game should be about the resurgence of interest in magic and mysticism, fighting secret societies while not looking like a schizoid.
Thank you, Wandering Mage, for the $5.
4chan against the deep state.
Yeah. That's not a game, though. That's just
That's
real.
reality.
Yeah. Anyhow, Ordo Dracul mentioned Demfirs are fucking crazy. I don't think they originally intended for Golconda to be more than a myth anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
More and more explaining the monster, not helping the game. Yeah.
Yeah. What else we got? Golconda would work if it was something like you end your curse, turn into dust, go to heaven. Instead, you become a vampire superhero.
Yeah, that's why it's stupid.
It is very dumb.
Right. You can never become human again.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the whole idea of the anti-hero.
Right.
I don't want anti-heroes anymore. I want
I
heroes.
just want heroes.
I just want real heroes. That's it. Mm-hmm. And I think everybody else does too. So if we made a determination on which game is better.
Have we?
I have.
Yeah. I wonder what it is.
It's definitely Requiem. I said it
I
10
say
years ago, and I
VtM,
say it now.
So there is no winner or loser. So
Neither of us has to leave the show. How could we have foreseen this?
yeah,
Not foreseen this.
not foreseen.
Or foreseen it. I don't know.
Nobody knows.
What a crazy turn of events.
Yeah.
Neither of us had to leave the show. Golconda was so dumb that it was associated with the Salubri. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because the Salubri have to be the good guys.
Yeah.
The Salubri are somehow a good guy battery, like a shortcut to
Right.
salvation. It's so dumb.
Right. Yeah, the only good vampire is the one who consciously walks out into the sunlight. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like this whole thing of like, you can make that choice very quickly. Mm-hmm. Go walk out into the sun. You're not anyone's problem anymore.
Right.
That's the only real moral choice that you can make. That's not the only one, but it's on the meta level, that's the only moral choice that you can make in Vampire.
Yeah.
Golconda should have worked in reverse. As you reclaim your humanity, you grow more and more mortal, weaker. That's possible.
That's a way to do it, but again, it shouldn't ever be something that's attainable. It should, and it certainly should not have been codified into mechanics.
Yeah. Requiem can let you try and be a hero and let the players eat the consequences. VtM kind of tries to over-explain how to do it and succeed. Forcing you to do evil acts to survive in the horrible world. Yeah, exactly. That's the point of the game. Mm-hmm. I'm drunk, bitches. Given I was too young to experience the 90s scene, born in 95, would love to play VtM as if it was 94 with typo negative playing in the
Hell
background,
yeah,
like
man.
a proper 90s goth kid. That's the way to do it.
That's
Like,
the way
if
to do it. Yeah.
If you're going to play VtM, in my opinion, because that's the other thing is that VtM, V5 sort of addresses this a bit, but it's like the VtM of the 90s and the early 2000s
belongs in the 90s.
And Requiem took a different approach in that they and I don't think they foresaw how much the propagation of cameras was going to happen with cell phones and things like that. But they made the very smart decision of making it like vampires don't stay on camera for very long. Like you fade. And so this allows the masquerade to continue happening and allows the evidence, the photographic evidence of vampires to not just get you all instantly barbecued.
Right.
Because there'd be too much of it.
Yeah, there's no way.
So it's a better game for a more modern setting, contemporary setting. Mm-hmm. Golconda, now including the Apex Vampire lore book for V5, was... I don't know what that means.
Yeah, well, V5, the developers at the new White Wolf, they were correct in limiting the clans to the initial core 7, but as the completely unjustified backlash against V5 continued to mount, they caved on more and more and more things. So they added the Ravnos back, which they previously said were all dead. The what the fuck was it? The something of nightmares? I don't know.
Week of Nightmares.
Yeah, the Week of Nightmares happen. But there's some Ravnos who are left. And the Tzimisce are back. And also there are still some Salubri that exist in the modern day. It's so bad. I would ignore all of those things. No Salubri, no Ravnos, no Tzimisce with flesh crafting, Hellraiser powers, Thing power, John Carpenter's Thing powers. Body horror is not does not belong in a vampire
it's
game.
So stupid, but I love it. Like, it's embarrassing to say that, but I love the Tzimisce and I love Possessed Dude. It's so dumb. It doesn't belong in the game.
They could be something else. If you want like some sort of body horror thing, it should be something.
No, man, you don't get it. I turned this guy into a chair.
I turned this guy into a chair.
Yeah, it's so stupid. One of the great things in Vampire for me and my teenage friends back in the days was that it felt like being more adult, making hard choices while looking cool as fuck. Yes.
Yeah, I could see that.
Absolutely. You guys think Requiem for Rome is good? I'm a sucker for ancient vampire stuff.
I never read Requiem for Rome.
I did
It
a
sounds
long time
cool.
ago. It was. I remember it being cool as fuck, but I haven't read it in like 20 years.
Because they like the basically the
Not
Camarilla
20
as
years,
a
like
thing.
15 years. Yeah.
That was like a thing from Rome, right?
Yes. Yeah.
What was
And
it called?
I think it was called the Camarilla.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, and so it gets the end of the Requiem for Rome period is basically like the Goths invading or something like that, and like
Yeah.
the Strix. There's this one giant Titanic bloody night where everything is the slate's wiped clean. Like
Yeah.
basically, it's the fall of Rome. It sounds really cool. So yes, I would at least get the PDF on that. I remember liking it a lot. So many of the VtM clans are just hilariously stupid. That is correct.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
just stupid.
And I think that's one of the biggest strengths of Requiem is just the consolidation of the clans. And of course they ruined that by making bloodlines in which they could bring back all the stupid clans, and then they could make even more stupid clans because they're just bloodlines. They're familial lines that go through each clan. It's like, shut the fuck up. You solved this problem and then you just reintroduced it.
Yeah.
I hated that. Do you think VtM like vampires and clans have a place in a game like Axe?
They could do. I mean, if you wanted
Not as player characters.
Yeah, not as player characters, but like if you wanted to, like, there's nothing stopping you from creating a setting that either has some sort of vampire fifth column going on, or if you want to just create like a gothic nightmare world where there are vampire lords, something out of
Someone
like a
may be doing
Warhammer Fantasy, maybe. And you want to give them more flavor.
Yeah, then definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think they work good as NPCs and antagonists, but not as player characters. But yeah, you could totally do that. And you can make domains run by vampires very easily. Bum, bum, bum.
What we got? The Tzimisce got hit hard with the NPC enemies turned into PC. Yeah. That is what they were initially designed to be.
I have seen the Nosferatu trailer.
Of course,
I can't wait. Eggers is the man, and I love Dracula, and I love Nosferatu, and the Nosferatu are my favorite clan. So I will be watching that movie likely on Christmas Day.
Hell yeah.
Next from Black Lodge Games, Acts 2 Dark Ages Vampire. Run your own domain. Send corresponders through the podcast to other game regions like a Bronstein. No, but we do have... I have some ideas for some Acts settings, and some of it's growing out of the Shucked Oyster. Obviously, and our next the Shucked Oyster verse product, as we talked about on D&D the other day, was...
sounds like a slur.
Eggers sounds like a slur. Thank you.
His movies are great. Everybody should watch
The Witch,
The Witch, The Lighthouse, and The Northman.
The Northman. They're so good.
So good.
Yeah.
The Lighthouse is my favorite.
Mine too.
Yeah.
The Northman is, oh God, it's so good though. I love The Northman.
Really good.
But The Lighthouse is so good. What do we think about Castle Falkenstein?
Playing a very game run by one of these guys sounds like a dream come true. Then again, that would be true of any game run by these fellas, no joke.
You're
Thank you,
damn
man.
right. No,
That's
thank you for
true.
the $5, man. And Buttquack is an excellent role player. So
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta run some
It
more.
would be. He's going to be running that Changeling game, and so if any of you out there are interested in New World of Darkness, Chronicles of Darkness, and want a very good role player to game master the game, Buttquack is the man.
Yes, he is.
So get in on that. Contact him on
If
Twitter.
I had more time, I would jump in on that immediately. I love Changeling.
Yeah, the Northman is so fucking good.
Yeah.
I have seen Daybreakers with Willem Dafoe. Dark premise, but well pulled off visuals and acting. A setting for a 2 to 4 player survival horror game where you play the small hiding groups of
I've
humans.
never seen this. Is this a movie?
Yeah, it came
guessing.
out in like 2008 or 2009. It was before I moved to New York. It's okay. The acting's really good, but it is kind of silly.
I did want to see that Willem Dafoe movie that came out, I think, last year about him being a thief getting trapped in like an apartment building. It's like an art thief. But then I heard somewhere online it wasn't good. I don't know.
That sucks. Yeah. The violence being so punchy is excellent. It was so good. Twitter or Discord, to be fair. Yeah. Yeah, get in there. That's going to be a good game.
Yeah, hop in while there's time.
I'd like to find a game, but I had difficulty finding people who get it.
That is the
That is the problem.
biggest problem. You just gotta cultivate. It can be a slow process, but
Yeah.
once you find people, it is worth it.
Yeah. At any rate, I'm running out of steam, so I think we're gonna maybe cut the stream like
A couple minutes.
a couple minutes early. We started late, leaving early, and we'll talk to you guys very, very soon.
Yep. All right, boys.
Yeah, thank you for hanging out, and don't forget to go and sign up for the Shucked Oyster Kickstarter. Link should be in the description here.
Yes.
Launching August 6th, guys. We if you guys want to help us out on that Kickstarter, that'd be great. Day one
Blow
is
will
the
come
day
for
to do it.
VtR. All good systems succumb to either neglect or bloat on a long enough timeline.
Yeah, I mean, certainly when
Yeah.
you're relying on the standard like business model.
Right, but the bloat will not come to VtR because it's been canned. It can't be. They can't make any books for it because they
Right.
don't want to pollute the line for V5 right now.
So it's flash frozen in its state
Right.
as it is,
Right.
and will remain there forever.
Right. But as I was saying, Kickstarters make or break on day one. So if you guys are going to back, please back early, back generously. And if you don't, then you're blocked. No. No, we appreciate it, guys. And looking forward to that. Really want to get this this book into your
Yeah.
hands. It's going to
We'll
be
be
so
here
fun.
soon.
I'm so proud of it. And that's it. Yeah. Have a good night, everybody.
Take care, everybody.